Timothy's in Harrogate. Timothy, what would you like to say?
Hello, James. Morning. I was very touched indeed when I heard Aida speaking about her arrival in this country, because I was the minister responsible for the Bosnian resettlement scheme on behalf of the UK government.
Gosh.
And, that really touched me, because it's very difficult to know, when we did that scheme, and that was a United Nations settlement scheme,
right,
in which I think this country could be very proud of it. And part of the whole process was the people, the officials, and all the others involved in the resettlement trying their very best to provide homely conditions, to give a really warm sort of welcome and help to those people that we'd agreed to take in from Bosnia. And we had some sort of, you had statistical evidence, but it's the first time today that I've actually heard someone say that this is something that was so important in their future lives.
Oh, wow.
So as I was the minister who's responsible, and admittedly, and James, I know what you're saying this morning, I was a Conservative minister, please.
Yes.
So, I just want to make it fairly clear that certainly from my point of view, I just like to hear something like that said by someone.
No, that surprises me, that you wouldn't have, because you get the paperwork across your desk and you're as you say, you're familiar with the statistics, but to hear the voice of a then 13-year-old girl who benefited from the welcome that you helped to enact as a
I know,
as a minister.
I'm not taking credit for this, because of course all the officials and the United Nations people themselves and all that, everybody involved in that whole scheme, a lot of the community were warmly welcoming too. And I was just, if you like, the pen pusher. I was just the minister at the back of it all who had the responsibility. But I just say this is very, very touching. And when you're talking in the context that you are this morning about what I think is an unfortunate situation and something which I don't like the sound of, I just want to put it on the record with you. And I have spoken to you previously,
Yes.
And I don't want to come across as some sort of dripping lefty type of...
nothing wrong.
I'm a Conservative.
There's nothing wrong with dripping lefties, Lord Kirkhope, as I have calculated you are also known as.
I just want to say that, and I just want to make it clear that one of the problems we have, I'll just be very brief, because one of the problems we have, we've got the migrants bill going through the Lords at the moment, and I must admit, I have been partly responsible for one or two comments and changes that I've been trying to get into it, because I don't like some of it. But the issue is that what the government has said it would do, and I really want the evidence now, is that it's going to have to set up more legal and safe routes for people to apply to come here, so that we don't get a situation where everybody who comes here is regarded as illegal.
Of course.
Whatever their motives may be, whatever their situation, we want to provide proper legal routes for them to be able to apply to come here, apply for asylum when they have real pressures in their lives that entitle them.
Like you did in 1996.
Well, we had it until 2011. We could apply through our embassies and consulates all around the world, and I want them to go back to that. But of course, my colleagues and I who are trying to push these points aren't getting very far on at the moment, because the House of Commons seems to have a very fixed view about this legislation. And I think it's a shame, because we have a reputation, we have a background we can be proud of, even if it is a little while ago. Sure. And I just want it restored again, James.
I'm very grateful for your call. You will understand I need to push you slightly back towards the topic under discussion, because you use the word unfortunate, which is fairly mild. To be absolutely clear, an immigration minister has ordered the removal of murals which depicted characters such as Baloo from the Jungle Book and Mickey Mouse, because they were thought to be too welcoming.
I'm sorry, I'm not going to be very helpful to you. All I could say is I don't think I would do it myself that way. I don't really... It seems to be rather contrary to what I believe is probably the sort of historic friendliness and openness of our society and our country.
Yes, and I will remind listeners, in case they weren't paying attention, that you were a Conservative minister, a Conservative politician, when you were contributing to the processes under discussion, and indeed to the kind of country that we were until, by your own account, until 2011. Timothy, now Lord Kirkhope, thank you. 11:16 is the time.